Well, hello seekers, welcome back. I hope you are enjoying this series of Bhagwad Gita as it is in 2020. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for those who already finished the previous episode, we learned in chapter 14 that the knower of Rajas, Tamas and Sattva, this yoga is eligible to be a Purushottama. This Purushottama is a gender neutral person. Even though the term Purushottama is masculine in nature, but it's gender neutral. The knower of a yoga of Rajas, Tamas and Sattva, how can that person be gender specific or species specific? It's neutral, it's ageless, it's timeless. Let's take an example to prove this point. I'm sure you must be familiar with the name Marie Curie. Well, she was known as Madame Curie. She was a famous Polish naturalized French physicist as well as chemist who conducted a pioneering research on radioactivity. When in 1896 she decided to conduct a thesis on uranium salt, the entire world changed. She is the prime reason we know anything about nuclear bomb today. She died on 4th of July 1934 from aplastic anemia believed to have been contracted from her long-term exposure to radiation. She used her body as a tool to fulfill her spiritual duty of conducting the experiments on radioactive elements and eventually earning the Nobel Prize for it. The entire research idea was her own. No one helped her to formulate it. And although she took it to her husband for his opinions time to time, she clearly established her ownership for the entire research. She later recorded the fact twice in her biography of her husband to ensure that there was no chance whatsoever and for any ambiguity that there was anyone involved other than her in the research of these radioactive elements. It is likely that already at this early stage of her career, she realized that many scientists would find it difficult to believe that a woman can be even capable of a original work in which she was involved. In that gender-biased society of more than 100 years ago, she was free of pride, detached, immune to any pleasure and pain, and in the control of her senses that she was responding to the calling of her Jivatma, the calling of her soul. As a part of chapter 15, Krishna says that he is the prime reason of this existence of Jivatma. In fact, he leaves a fragment of himself for the experience of the physical body through these five senses such as touch, hearing, sight, taste and smell. Krishna says Jivatma enjoys the object of senses through the body, whereas Krishna himself is the radiance. He is the radiation inside a sun, inside the moon, inside the entire universe. And he takes the form of a fire. Krishna is the one to exhale and one to inhale. He is the source of memory, he is the father of Vedanta, and probably the Jivatma inside Marie Curie made her realize that her reason of existence is to dedicate her life to the understanding of these radioactive elements. Shri Krishna said, "He who knows the peepal tree in the form of creation, which is said to be imperishable with its roots in the primeval being, that is God, whose stems is represented by the Brahma, the creator, and whose leaves are the Vedas, is the knower of the purport of the Vedas. Fed by the three gunas and having sense objects of these tender leaves, the branches of aforesaid tree in the shape of a different order of creation extends both downwards and upwards, and its roots, which bind the soul according to its actions in the human body, are spread in all regions, higher as well as lower. The nature of this tree of creation does not mature through turns out what it is represented to be, for it has neither the beginning nor end, nor even stability. Therefore, felling this peepal tree, which is most firm rooted with the formidable axe of dispassion, thereafter a man should diligently seek for the supreme state, that is God, having attained to which they return no more to this world, and having fully resolved that he stands dedicated to that primeval being, that is Narayana himself, from whom the flow of the beginningless creation has progressed, he should dwell and meditate on him. They who are free from pride and delusion, who have conquered the evil of attachment and are in the eternal union with God, whose craving have altogether ceased and who are completely immune from all pairs of opposite, going by the names of pleasure and pain, and are undeluded, attain the supreme immortal state. Neither the sun, nor the moon, nor fire can illuminate that supreme self-effulgent state, attaining to which they never return to this world, that is my supreme abode. The eternal Jivatma in this body is the fragment of my own being, and it is that alone which draws around itself the mind and the five senses which abide in Prakriti. Like the wind wafts the sands from their seat, so too the Jivatma, which is the controller of the body, taking the mind and the senses from the body which it leaves behind, forthwith migrates to the body which it acquires. It is while dwelling in the senses of hearing, sight, touch, taste, smell, as well as in the mind that this Jivatma enjoys the objects of senses. The ignorant knows not the soul departing from or dwelling in the body or enjoying the objects of senses, that is, even when it is connected with the three gunas, only those endowed with the eyes of wisdom are able to realize it. Striving yogis too are able to realize this self-enrichment in their heart. The ignorant, however, whose heart has not been purified, know not this self in spite of their best endeavors. The radiance in the sun that illuminates the entire world, and that which shines in the moon, and that which it shines in the fire too, know that radiance is mine. And permeating the soil, it is I who support all creatures by my vital energy, and becoming the sapeful moon, I nourish all plants. Taking the form of fire as Vaishvanara, lodged in the body of all creatures and united with the prana, that is exhalation, and apana, inhalation, breaths, it is I who digest and assimilate the four kinds of food. It is I who remains seated in the heart of all creatures as the inner controller of all, and it is I who am the source of memory, knowledge, and the logical faculty. Again, I am the only object worth knowing through the Vedas. I alone am the father of Vedanta and the knower of Vedas too, the perishable and the imperishable too. These are the two kinds of Purusas in this world. Of these, the body of all beings are spoken of as a perishable, while the Jivatma or the embodied soul is called imperishable. Yet the Supreme Person is other than these, who have encompassed all the three worlds, upholds and maintain all, and being spoken of as an imperishable Lord and the Supreme Spirit. Since I am wholly beyond the perishable world of matter or kshetra, I am superior even to the imperishable soul Jivatma. Hence, I am known as Purushottama, the Supreme Self in the world as well as in the Vedas. Arjuna, the wise man who thus realizes me as the Supreme Person, knowing all, he constantly worships me, the all-pervading Lord, with his whole being. Arjuna, this most astrotic teaching has thus been imparted by me. Grasping it in essence of man becomes wise, and his mission in life is accomplished. Thus, in the Upanishad sung by the Lord, the science of Brahma, the scripture of Yoga, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna ends the 15th chapter, entitled The Yoga of the Supreme Person. How many times in our lives do we think that what is the reason of our existence? How did it happen that our physical body and a spiritual body came together and created us? Because before the sperm of a male and the egg of a female meets, they don't have a life of their own. But as soon as they come together, some magic happens. that leads to a fully developed organisms. Be it a human, be it an animal, well, it depends on your karma if you are born as a human or not. However, when you are born as a human, why don't you fulfill the duties that you are assigned to be? We talked about these duties in detail in chapter 3. You should dedicate your life to perform these two types of duties, that are bodily duties and spiritual duties. However, your spiritual duty triumphs the requirement of your physical body, but the senses of your actions are experienced by your spiritual body through your physical body. Through this touch, hearing, sight, taste, smell, that's how your spiritual body experiences the world around. These experiences of spiritual body through the senses of physical body are for the satisfaction of Jivatma that connects the physical body and the spiritual body. The union of these two bodies, that is matter and spirit, Prakriti and Parusa, is driven by the devotion that we talked about in chapter 12 towards the Rajas, Tamas and Sattva that we talked about in chapter 14. It's totally the decision of Jivatma to follow a combination of Tamas with Rajas or Sattva with Rajas. If you consider Rajas as passion and Tamas as ignorance, this combination of Tamas and Rajas will not lead you to be a supreme person. Whereas if you combine your Sattva with your passion, if you combine your Sattva with Rajas, that's when a supreme personality will come into existence. That's the difference between Abdul Kalam and Kasab. Lately, in couple of decades, the world has been in the clouds of Islamophobia. But if it was Islam to be blamed for those people with demonic nature, with tamasic nature, driven by passion, then we would not be having APJ Abdul Kalam as the President of India, nor we would be having Shirin Ebadi, an Iranian human rights activist, a Nobel Peace Prize winner of 2003. This list may go on, but I hope you get my point. It's the tamasika nature of a person and not their religious background. At the same time, if you combine your passion with sattva, the sattvika nature, you get the likes of Malala Yousafzai as well as APJ Abdul Kalam. Even though the Jivatma of Madam Curie led her to the expedition of uranium salt and write a complete thesis on the radiation of the uranium as well as radioactive elements, today the world is afraid if these nuclear weapons are in possession of these Islamic terror groups which are driven by tamasika nature, not by the religion. What would be the future of the human civilization? The species of Homo sapiens, which has been in existence since hundreds and thousands of years, coexisting with other species as well, such as Neanderthals or Homo erectus. Are we going to end our lives with these warfares due to some radioactive energies that were discovered? The question is not if, but when these deadly weapons will be acquired by some terrorist organization and someone like Osama or Kasab will be successful in their mission today or tomorrow. So rather than following the tamasika nature of a human, you should be always driven by the sattvika nature with rajas, with passion, because the combination of passion with sattvika produces the likes of Marie Curie, produces the likes of Malala Yousafzai, the likes of Abdul Kalam, the likes of Barack Obama, and not a Donald Trump. With this, we will end our chapter 15, that is the yoga of the Supreme Person. In next chapter, we will talk in detail about the differences between a demonic nature and a divine nature. If you like the content, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well as subscribe my channel. Hare Krishna.